much for tuning in to another episode of Millennivision's Career Exploration Network Navigation. As you all already know, this video series serves the purpose of basically introducing you all to amazing people who are at the height of their career so that we can get the answer to this one question. How do you get this far? Like, that's what we really want to know. Like, how do I get myself as far as you have gotten yourself? So for that reason, there's 3 skills for sure that can get you there. That's networking, that's branding, and that's marketing. And this lovely lady next to me, she's going to introduce herself and tell you all how she made a career in brand management.
Wow, I like that. I'm Shavonne Dargan. I'm the Senior Vice President for Brand Management at Live Nation Entertainment.
Nice.
What that means is I oversee all of our partnerships with companies and corporations and how they leverage music to market to their consumers.
Nice.
Yeah, do you want me to talk about how I got my start?
We'll get to that part
Okay, got it.
So the first thing that we definitely want to do is we want to explore a little bit about your adolescent years. Like, how were you as a child, as a teenager? Let's talk about that.
If I pulled out photos of me when I was 2 and 3 years old, I don't think you would be surprised that it's me and that I am who I am today, because I've always had a little bit of sassiness. I've always been what I call as a risk taker. My mother might have called it stupid at the time. I remember I was 2 and there was this icy set of stairs that I was just so intrigued by, and I thought, I can jump down these stairs. Well,
no way.
I did.
You thought you could fly?
I don't know what I thought, but I believed that I could do anything that I put my mind to.
Even fly.
Even jump down those icy steps and not end up in the hospital for a week. I did it, but I learned the lesson. I would never
don't do that again.
Jump down steps again. I kind of have a little bit of a fear of stairs now, and that's probably where that came from.
So you're more of an escalator, elevator type.
Yeah,
don't
for sure.
Avoid the staircase.
For sure.
Understood.
But from a really early age, I was somewhat fearless. I've learned how to be more smart in my fearlessness, and a little spicy and a little sassy, and that has carried through. And then as an adolescent, you know, you all go through these phases where I was a serious awkward adolescent, but I started doing sports. I played basketball, I played softball, I did everything, tennis. And then I found track and field, and that's really where I started to excel, and I stuck with that throughout high school and into college.
I mean, I think it's so great that you mentioned that you did sports. More importantly, because I never did sports. I wish I did. The only sport I ever wanted to play was flag football, but it was kind of like either I do flag football 5 days a week, or I do a nursing program that I was very interested in. So I had to choose. I went the other route. It's okay. But one thing I definitely love that you mentioned is that you got engaged in sports. And one thing that a lot of people realize is that when you engage in sports, you learn to stay focused. You learn to stay determined. So do you feel like playing sports prepped you for your career now?
Oh, it prepped me for my life. So some of the lessons that I learned by playing a sport, being a member of a team, having to contribute to wins.
Of course.
Taking direction, understanding how to accept feedback that wasn't always positive. All of those things, learning how to work for the results that I wanted.
Absolutely.
All of that came from being part of a team and being an athlete. And those are valuable life lessons. So not just in my career, but in my everyday life. And for sure, those are my base values.
Of course.
Right? It came from me being an athlete. And it helps me to coach the team of people that I have to manage every day.
So
and
important.
It helps to, when I have to give feedback, that's not always going to be seen as positive, whether it's a client or somebody that I manage directly or a colleague. I go back to some of the things that I learned by being part of a team on the track team and from middle school through college. I pull some of those lessons to the forefront every single day.
Right. Well, that's so empowering.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to take a next step into, as you realize how your adolescent years, especially, you know, like engaging in sports, you know, kind of being this risk taker, this explorative individual, how do you feel like that prepared you for the next step in your academic career, going to Syracuse University and studying retail marketing?
I was recruited. I was actually good. I was a good athlete, and so I was recruited by several colleges. Syracuse was one of them. But I went to Syracuse for a completely shallow reason. I like the basketball team.
Yep, of course.
And I was like, oh, Syracuse has a great basketball team, and all my uncles, my family is from Harlem, and New Yorkers adopt Syracuse as their team a lot of times. So I didn't visit Syracuse. I visited all the other schools. Most of them were in the South. I decided that I didn't want to go to school in the South for some strange reason. I didn't visit Syracuse, and I ended up accepting a scholarship to Syracuse.
I feel like Syracuse is so prestigious that literally once you hear the name, you already know for sure I have to go there. Whether I visit, know anybody there or not, I'm going there.
I went for the basketball team.
But do you feel like it paid off though? Even though you went there for basketball and you studied what you studied,
100%.
Okay, that's good.
I've had some of the best professors. They have a really good marketing program at Syracuse. My team, my teammates, my coaches were a very important part of me becoming the adult that I am today. I became a real adult in college at Syracuse, and so becoming an independent adult, I don't think that I could have done better at another college or university. It was tough having to get out of bed when it's 10 degrees and 4 feet of snow on the ground, but
I can relate.
You just learn how to push through and do what you have to do to get things done. And it also helped. I was on a full scholarship, so I could not have afforded Syracuse University. My mother saved up enough for us to go to community college, but I definitely wasn't going to nobody's Syracuse.
$65,000.
Oh, I know. But and I thank the Lord every day that I don't have to pay any loans back.
That's amazing.
Because,
I'm stuck playing loans.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But that also was part of my growing up. I had a scholarship to maintain, and so I wanted to do all of the things that students who aren't also athletes on a scholarship got to do, but I didn't. I wasn't drinking and partying. I was studying to maintain my grades, and I was practicing so that I could maintain my spot on the team and therefore maintain this money that was gifted to me. Well, I earned it. It wasn't a gift. But so that I could get my education and then move on to the next phase, So
I definitely want to pick at you. You said that you were in your books, you didn't party too much or get too crazy. So what did you do for fun in college? Because everybody has some kind of crazy college story. What's yours?
You know what? Our team, we had such camaraderie between us on our team. I was a triple jumper, so all of the triple jumpers, and we lived in these townhouses on campus. So we didn't have to go I went to parties. We have this place called the Underground. It's still there, and that's where all the hip hop parties were. So every Tuesday and Sunday, I'm at the Underground. And then there was this wing spot that had hip hop karaoke nights. So I was out, but I wasn't drinking and smoking and engaging in things like that. But I was certainly getting my dance on and partying with my friends. But we had these townhouses, and we all used to put in so that we could be neighbors. Like the crew were neighbors, and so we would just be at each other's house every night, just being social and cooking together, and those were the things that I really enjoyed.
Are you a good cook?
I'm a really good cook.
Hey.
Yes.
All right, favorite dish that you make?
So I just started cooking vegan. I am not vegan. I don't intend to ever be.
I can't.
Right.
I can't.
But I ordered this service because I want to eat better.
Okay.
When I'm home. But when I'm out, I want to be able to eat whatever I want. So I just made General Tso's tofu. It was so good. I ate the entire pot. I'm pretty sure that's not the point of me trying to eat now. General Tso's tofu.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now my best dish is a vegan dish, and I never thought I'd hear myself say that. I can't even believe I just said it. You should. Tofu? I mean, tofu is the business.
I'm a chicken girl.
I haven't had chicken in 3 months.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious.
Pescatarian for now?
No, I know.
I eat fish?
I eat beef. I had beef.
Oh, okay, just not chicken.
Yesterday.
Okay.
I had turkey on Saturday. Just not chicken.
Just not chicken. Okay, see, I can't do that. I need chicken for everything.
Yeah, no. Try tofu.
Now I learned. I need to get back in the kitchen. I will do so. For all of you, General Tso tofu.
Yes.
Try that. All right, so my next question for you is, I guess exploring college, you know, getting involved in sports and retail marketing, you know, being involved on campus in the ways that you were. Please explain to us the timeline of your career journey, the first company to the second company, and what those experiences were like.
Sure. When I first graduated, when I went to college, I thought that I wanted to be a retail buyer. And I thought that I eventually wanted to own a boutique somewhere and travel the world and buy all these beautiful textiles and have a boutique.
Right.
So I have a degree in marketing with a focus in retail. And so my first job out of college was at Tiffany and Company, not fashion or clothing at all, jewelry.
Right.
But I got the opportunity to really learn the back end of the business. So all of the inventory and how inventory comes in and it's checked and, you know, when it goes out and all of those good things. Not working directly with diamonds and fine jewelry, but on the, you know, Tiffany sells crystal and fine china and silverware and things like that. So that was my first gig. I did that for 2 years, and then I got an opportunity to go work at Saks Fifth Avenue, which I was like, oh, wait a minute.
That's a big deal.
Yes, now I'm around these beautiful fabrics and this clothing, and I at this point am still thinking I want to become a buyer for Saks Fifth Avenue. So I started there as an assistant manager in the cosmetics. And that was amazing because I got all kinds of free skincare. My skin was at its prime.
Items is always the best thing.
It was amazing. My whole family, I didn't have to ever buy gifts because they were all women. Yes, and they were new stuff that's coming out before it's on the shelves. And then I was elevated to become the manager of the designer salon, which was, I thought it was my dream. But about a year in, and I was in my early 20s, I'm managing people who've been in their careers and at this job. They were my grandmother's age at that point. And I was doing a fine job, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I one day, it just felt like it was one day, it just came to me, this isn't it. I don't want to do this. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. So what I did was I contacted a headhunter and just said, I want to do something different. I don't know what I want, but here's what I do know about myself. And I gave her all of these, you know, likes and dislikes. I loved sports. I'd always been an athlete. I loved going to see the Washington Wizards play. I would see these people walking around, and I knew they worked for the NBA team, but I didn't know what they did for the team. So I was like, could you find out if there are jobs at the Wizards or something in sports that my skill set is a fit for?
Of course.
She ended up finding a gig as an administrative assistant at this sports marketing firm, and I'm like, I had to take a pay cut. I was a manager of a designer salon overseeing 4 people, and I'm now going to be someone's administrative assistant, but it was at a sports marketing firm, and it was at the firm that Michael Jordan's agent worked at.
Ooh, that's
so I was like, yes,
that's
please.
spicy.
Yes, please. So I got the interview, and same day I was offered the position.
I can't imagine them denying you.
I mean, right?
I mean, come
Hello.
on. They have to take you.
And I'm sure I wore something real fierce and fly that we're not ready for.
As you should.
But but I got the gig, and I ended up being the administrative assistant to a gentleman named Russell Wallach, who is now the president. He's my boss now at Live Nation. So I'll like bring that all together, because I always talk about the importance of networking, and you mentioned it at the top.
That's so important.
Every job that I have had since that gig at SFX Sports Group, I have gotten by way of my network. Somebody knew of my work, somebody knew somebody who had a gig that they thought I would be good for, and it was just conversations and through the network. I haven't applied for a job since
working at that
SFX Sports Group job, and that was in 1998.
What?
Right.
See,
and so,
networking.
Yeah, it's networking, and not just networking, but really caring for those relationships and really nurturing and building them. That's right. True. So, you know, that doesn't mean
like go out and reach out on people
every year when something comes up that you need. It means it's reciprocal. It's reaching out to see how that person's doing and if there's anything you can do to help them.
That's true.
So, got the gig with Russell as his administrative assistant, and 8 months in, I had learned so much about the business, and I'm saying, I can add more value here. So I put a proposal together for him. He's probably like, who do you think you are? You just got here.
But you're ready.
So I was ready, and I put a proposal in front of him. I invited him to lunch on me, making no money, but I was like, let me take you to lunch,
Of course.
boss.
Mm-hmm.
And I presented this proposal, and he just like looking at me like, in
I'm mind
disbelief.
blown. He's like, I'm mind blown.
And I said, you just absorb it. Don't answer now. But that's, I had a whole salary figured out. I had a new title for myself, everything.
Oh, you created the whole role.
I created a new role.
Ooh.
And after a couple of weeks of him doing what he needed to do, you know, with HR, and he said yes.
Wow.
And I had to find my own replacement, but I was like, that's the easy part.
Right.
So from there, that also gave me more courage and more, you know, it made me more open to taking more risks.
Of course.
Because that was a big risk.
That was huge.
And it was scary for
Right.
me. But I was like, wow, I did it, and I got through it. And he said, so he believes in me. So from there, I had another gig in sports in Memphis for a couple of years, and then Russell, the same guy,
Mm-hmm.
called me and said, hey, Clear Channel Entertainment just spun off their entertainment division, live music division, and forming a new company, and I want you to come
And he
talk
brought
to
you
me.
with him. Ooh,
Yeah, and
that's
so
amazing.
I joined Live Nation in
I love Russell.
2006. Right?
Wherever he is, I love him. Russell, I love you. Thank you for doing this for her.
Right? Thank you, Russell. We love Russell.
But yeah.
So yeah, and I'm here, and I started at Live Nation as a senior account manager,
Mm-hmm.
doing a very similar job to the area of business that I oversee today, but started at the bottom essentially,
Of course.
and just built my way up.
But I'm so glad that's a part of your story, right? Especially the risk-taking part, because I feel like a lot of people, because of the title employee, you kind of feel intimidated to hear, like, you know, I want to talk to a boss, right? It's like, how do I go to the CEO of a company, or how do I go to the top manager of a department? How do I approach them? So I know that you initiated that conversation with him, but how did you feel even saying, like, I need to take this next step, boss up, and speak to the boss?
Scared,
Yeah,
but not scared enough not to do it.
exactly.
Because I believed it.
Right.
I believed in it. I knew that I had done everything that I could do to prepare. I wasn't coming to him with a suggestion without having done research and had stats and had testimonials. I was coming prepared.
Right.
But I was still scared and had a pit in my stomach, but I practiced so that I wouldn't trip up, and I anticipated what questions he may ask.
Yep.
I thought through everything that he could potentially
Dissect.
say. Right,
Mhm.
right. If he tears this part apart, what am I going to say?
Next, right.
So preparation is really what
That's key.
was the key,
Mhm.
right? And I worked through the fear, and what do I have to lose?
Right.
So I've always
You won't lose your
had
job
the-
for asking for another position.
not and if I did, so I've never been fearful of not eating. I'm going to eat because
Right.
I'm a worker. I come from women who do what they have to do in
Mhm.
order for food to be on a table and a roof to be overhead.
course.
And so I'm never fearful of
Your next meal.
not having that.
Mhm.
I may not have steak,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna get some ground beef
For some chicken.
or some chicken, right? So I wasn't even, I don't approach things with that, and I even at that early stage in my career, I wasn't approaching it like, oh gosh, I'm going to lose a job, because I'll go find another job. I can do something.
Right.
But yeah, I just worked through the fear, and the potential reward was greater than the fear.
No, I definitely feel. I feel empowered. No, I truly feel empowered. That was amazing. So as we kind of approach the close of the interview, there are two very important questions I wanted to ask. Talking about like the industry of marketing and branding and media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you feel are like the necessary trends or skill sets that people who are gearing towards building their career in that industry should have or be aware of?
Wow. Well, I mean, as it relates to our business, core skills is what I look for. Sure, you can be a marketer, you can have a liberal arts degree. It doesn't really matter. But I look for core skills. You have to be a really good communicator.
Yes.
You have to be a people person,
Yes.
not a people pleaser,
People
but you have to be able to
Mhm.
read people and then understand how to potentially slightly adjust your message so that they can understand your message.
Right.
You have to be entrepreneurial.
It's true.
Even though I work for a company, I'm not an entrepreneur. Within this role in this industry, there's so many opportunities to do bigger, broader things than what is your role on paper.
Of course.
And if you have that kind of mindset, that you're definitely going to excel and succeed and level up faster than, you know, your peer or your colleague who isn't walking along that train of thought.
It's true. I feel like having an entrepreneurial spirit is always going to get you very far, especially
Absolutely.
because it's like I'm always willing to challenge myself.
That's
I'm
right.
always willing to see that I succeeded in something. However, what's the next big
What's
step?
next?
Like,
Right.
I have a brand to build, right? It's like
Exactly.
I'm me. I work at a company, but I'm still me.
Exactly.
And when I tell my success story, what is that success story going to look and sound like?
Right.
That's what you're doing. You are that amazing brand. You are that amazing individual.
Thank you.
Shout outs to you. And lastly, diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
That's like a touchy-feely topic for everybody. Everyone shakes and trembles when they hear the term, but we're definitely going to address it.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other professionals feel the same way, but I think that D&I, once again, diversity and inclusion, is a business agenda.
Oh,
People
absolutely.
make it seem like it's a social justice issue, but really and truly, it's talent management. It's
Absolutely.
about how do you get various kinds of people in the same type of work, but how do you ensure that they're engaged when they get there, they can communicate when they get there, all those different things.
Yeah.
So my question to you would be, what is diversity and inclusion to you, and why is that so important in the industry?
It's everything that you just said, and you're right. It has to be a corporate initiative. It has to be a cultural initiative, not culture meaning diverse backgrounds,
Mhm.
but what's your corporate
Yes.
culture, right? And it's, we're not going to succeed. The future's coming, right?
coming.
The,
It's right
the
there.
world is changing.
Mhm.
This country is changing, and if companies don't change with, we're gonna miss out and
You
we're
are.
gonna lose out. And so what I've been most proud of in the
Mhm.
past couple of years, my role here is I am the executive sponsor for our Black Employee Resource Group, right? And our CEO
Mhm.
has made it a primary initiative and pays very close attention to diversity.
Nice.
And I feel that he's invested in time, money, people resources
Great.
in diversity across the board. So we have a Black employee resource group, a Latino employee resource group,
Nice.
Asian, we have LGBT, we have
Nice.
everybody is represented, and I've seen it in the
Mhm.
past couple of years. Not only do we who are here feel like we have safe spaces to
Mhm.
have conversations that we understand about how we show up at work,
Right.
but we have developed programming designed to educate and help others who don't live our backgrounds and
Right.
our challenges
Yep.
to just get a glimpse into what it's like
Yes.
to be a Black employee at
Yes.
Live Nation.
Mhm.
And it has been so rewarding, and I know that it's valuable. We also work very closely with recruitment
Good.
and our HR teams to help them understand where to go to find diverse candidates.
Right.
So it is an important initiative that every single company needs to, like, we've seen so many examples of missteps that marketers
And we-
have taken
Mhm.
simply because they don't have the right people in the
It's
room.
true. It's true.
That's the easy fix,
It
because
is.
we're here. We're
Right.
out here.
And the great thing about it is that you acknowledge that your company is working on it,
Oh, yeah.
but you still make it your responsibility to help the company work on it.
Absolutely.
And it's never just one individual or one group that's supposed to make this an important initiative. It's everybody's
Everyone.
responsibility. If you know somebody who has the skill, who has the passion, who knows someone, introduce them,
Yeah.
put them on, like
Yeah.
help them realize that your opportunity is there. Let me figure out how to connect you to that necessary resource or company.
That's
and
right.
you're doing that work. So thank you again, Shavonne.
Of course.
Before I let you go, I have 2 fun questions for you to
Okay.
answer. The
Uh-oh.
fun thing is, who inspires you? But before you answer that, you have to choose one person in your industry and a celebrity who is not even in your field at all.
Oh my goodness. Someone in my industry.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna sound strange.
Never strange. Go ahead.
Gayle King. Right. See, she said never strange, and she was like, "What?"
Gayle.
Because so I haven't really. I knew who Gayle King was since Oprah, but I really didn't follow her career until I would say a couple of years ago. And her poise always, and her just the way she hasn't really been silent, but she's really climbed, and she didn't. It wasn't a quick road for her to get to CBS, right? It was a climb, right? And I just really respect her and what she's been able to do over her career. And then what was the
celebrity? Someone who's not in your field, it could be a singer, it could be a dancer, an actress, someone who's not doing anything close to what you're doing.
A celebrity. Really inspired by a celebrity.
I know, I understand.
But
what I always think about, right, is that I don't think I necessarily.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yara Shahidi.
Yes, I like her.
She's so young.
And she's so great.
And she's so
wise.
Fierce.
It's true.
And
like you when you were younger?
No, I wasn't like that when
I
was younger. And I wish that I was, because I think sometimes if I was like Yara when I was 18, 19, 20, when she's 19, whatever, however old, she's not even 21 yet. I'd be a CEO somewhere. I'd be on this and that board. I'd have a home in the Cayman Island. I mean, come on.
No, she's killing it.
She's killing it.
She's amazing. Yeah. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that too, because whenever I ask that question, people always feel like who you're inspired by has to be like this one figure that they overall represent you, who you are, what you want to be. For me, I think about inspiration, whereas I look at different people and I pick at the different things that they do that make me feel like, catch up. Let's
right,
exactly.
And so even Yara's like, girl, get on it. She makes me, you know, like, if I'm feeling lazy and I see something, I'm like, oh, she's a child.
Like, get up. Right, exactly. And then the very last question. After this interview, if you could just get up, go to the airport, and fly anywhere, where would that be?
Barcelona.
Ooh, I went there this summer.
Yes.
And it was great.
I loved Barcelona. The food is amazing. The people are even better. And it's just peaceful.
It's Barcelona.
Yeah, it's Barcelona.
So once again, thank you so much, Shavonne, for doing this interview with us. Once again, you all, Millennial Vision Networks, please be sure to comment, subscribe to our channel, and just continuously get engaged with us. All right, you all. So thank you once again. You can wave them goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.